60s. Everybody hears about, the time of free love and that stuff, but it wasn't quite like that.
Fran Nelson was living in Bethesda, Maryland in 1970 with her parents and 10 siblings when her life changed forever.
I went to high school, had been dating my boyfriend for probably a year, started not feeling well, and realized after a long time that I must be pregnant.
Nelson hid her pregnancy for almost 6 months. She was finally forced to come clean to her mom.
She took me home. I wasn't allowed to go out of my house because somebody might see me and think badly of me. Within a week, I was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at a home for unwed mothers.
That was at a Salvation Army hospital, which at the time were all over the United States, and a sanctuary for teen moms to go away to deliver their babies in private. After staying at the home for a few months, Nelson went into labor.
My parents decided that when the baby was born, it was going to be given up for adoption. I had no choice. So when I finally gave birth, I ended up having to carry the baby out of the hospital and hand her to a lawyer who my parents had arranged a private adoption.
That shattering experience changed everything for Fran Nelson.
Never could live with my parents after that. That hurt so much.
Nelson only went to school for a couple of months after returning from Pennsylvania and then started to work full-time. A few years later, she moved to this home in California. But what she faced being pregnant in the 1970s is very different than what teen moms face today.
The trend that's changing is both a decrease in the number of births to teens, but a lot of that has to do with the changes in marriage and marriage being postponed.
UC Berkeley adolescent research scientist Nancy Berglis says that the stigma associated with teen pregnancy has also changed.
It's more accepting, it's more common. We know that teens are sexually active. We know teens who become pregnant, who give birth. We see it in the movies, on TV, in magazines, and in our communities. It's more open.
But even though teen pregnancy may be more visible these days, Berglis says the stigma hasn't completely gone away.
There's been a lot of backlash too. It's, the stigma has both decreased, but it also has increased and sort of placed itself on those teens, and particularly those communities, the ethnic groups.
There's another shift in terms of what girls are deciding to do when they find themselves pregnant. In the past, many teens would look to alternatives such as abortion, but teen pregnancy specialist Kathy Biddle says those options are less popular.
The statistic for nation, I believe, is still around 56% of girls do continue on with the pregnancy. So the other portion are brought in with abortion, which I think is still around 30%.
And while fewer girls are deciding to have abortions, an even smaller number are giving their babies up for adoption.
In the 21 years that I've been here, I've had 4 girls adopt out. One of whom, she was 12 at the time when she got pregnant.
Decisions teens are making about their pregnancies is shifting, and the way the education system is working with girls also looks different.
You'll go in any high school in the Bay Area and walk down the halls and see a belly bump. It's much more accepted.
But that acceptance wasn't there when Fran Nelson was a pregnant teen. She has struggled with this part of her life for the past 4 decades, but says now it was the best thing for both she and her baby.
At this point, it is better. I was 15. I would have a 40-plus-year-old. I may be a great-grandma for all I know. It's been very, very hard for 40 years because I miss her. Part of my heart's gone.
In Pacifica, Ashley Larson, State of Events.